Where's your banner at, Christian?
My banner?
Your Heisman banner.
Oh, Munson's not here to hype it up.
Hey, Malik, can you talk about the stress a quarterback like Davis Webb and that type of offense puts on the defense?
It just makes it a little challenging that, the type of offense they run, no huddle. They're quick, they're sound. They've been doing it for years, so it's easy for them to, keep a rhythm going and stuff like that. It's a little challenging to stop, but, I think we're prepared for it. We're preparing for it. We're getting ready for it.
Is the key to make him hold the ball and confuse him rather than just try to chase him?
I'm not really sure. You would think that, maybe so. Maybe want him to hold it, or maybe you just want to pressure him. I think the more pressure, the better.
Malik, what do you guys need to do better against Cal compared to last year?
Better technique. Technique is a big thing that we need to pick up on. We're not terrible at it, but it's just something that could be better. But I honestly feel like last year's game had nothing to do with this year's game. Being that there's a new team, there's a new quarterback. Several people have left their program, several people have left our program. So kind of last year's game really doesn't have any comparison to this year's game.
You guys played against Goff in this offense. They're running like 80 to 90 snaps a game.
Right.
How do you cope with that?
You just go. There's no secret formula to it. You just go with the punches. You go with play to play, down by down.
Christian, how much did you want your offense to open up at the beginning of that game last Saturday night? I mean, your first 2 or 3 possessions, you guys were backed up to your own goal line, and you guys just kind of ran it and punted. But it was pretty obvious they were keeping the middle of the field open. And were you chomping at the bit to let one fly?
Yeah, it was tough being backed up too. You got to restrict your play calls a little bit. So we just waited finally when we got into the field where open field, like near the 30, that we knew we could open up with our playbook a little bit. And Coach Morgan was looking up in the press box, saw the shot we can take, and we called the play at the right time. And Micah made the catch and did his thing.
Christian, could you talk about the involvement of the passing game, the growth from where it was at the tail end of last season? I mean, do you think you've kind of gone to the next level?
I feel a lot more confident, like I said before. Just the offense feels kind of second nature right now. I know what I'm looking for with my passes, know what to take, know what not to take. And then the other thing is these teams are trying to stop the run, so that leaves a lot of open field for me to make some pass plays when you're stacking the box so much, one-on-ones on the outside with my receivers.
Obviously, for either of you guys or both, a lot's going to be made, and you know it, about playing a Power 5 team and trying to beat a Power 5 team. Can too much emphasis be put on one game here?
By other people, yeah. Outside people, yeah, it could be a lot of emphasis put on this game, but definitely not by us.
Christian, do you try not to look or think about last year's game, or try not to just, or maybe are you trying to use that as motivation? Because that was one of your first appearances, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think about it too much. I only kind of use that game as for film reference. I go back and look what they did against us last year and try to use it forward as we play them this year. But this is a new year, new team, got new guys coming in, and whole new mindset.
Going into the game, are you guys anticipating having to kind of go punch for punch, high tempo? I mean, you guys didn't really do that a lot last year. Or is your goal to slow them down and kind of slow down the tempo?
We haven't really talked about it yet, what we're going to do tempo-wise, but I think we're just going to go like we do, run first, pound it until you can't stop it, and go from there.
Cal's punter kind of popped up on Instagram. Did you guys see that? And what kind of response you had to that? Do you think there'll be a little smack talk this week?
He said what he said, I just kind of don't pay attention to it, but I mean, I did see it. He said what he said, let him say it. We'll see him Saturday.
We'll let our game speak for itself.
Christian, did you run the proper amount of times, or the number of times that you like to run? I mean, I thought you made some very solid decisions when to take off and pick up some yardage scrambling, but I also saw you take a couple of hits And I was thinking maybe your quarterback coaches might be asking you to avoid a few. Why is Malik looking like that?
I only look like that because he scrambles at practice knowing that we can't touch him. He always said, I'm going to scramble in the game.
Now you scramble in the game.
So it just made me
Was that
smile a
something
little
that was
bit.
addressed after the game at all, or was your coaches happy with how much you ran and the way you did that?
He was happy with some of my runs when it was covered up and there was a big hole. I just took it, just went and got the yards I can. Some hits here and there that he said protect yourself a little bit more. You know, I don't really slide. I don't like sliding. I like trying to fall forward, get as much yards as I can. So I might be out there a little bit for them to hit me, but that's the name of the game.
Everybody knows there's a pretty wide gap between the Power 5 teams and the Group of 5 teams. You guys know players that are on Power 5 teams and play for Power 5 program. Is there that big a difference between San Diego State and the athlete who plays at Cal?
In most cases, no. I mean, we all play Division I football. The only difference between Power 5 conference is money. That's the only difference. Everybody plays football. Everybody works out the same. Everybody works the same drills for the most part, at least. So there's no big difference as far as the athlete, you know. But that's about it.
Were either of you recruited by Cal at all?
Not me.
Do you think about that at all?
No.
Not too much, no.
When you see in Eastern Washington knock out Washington State, you see the little guy rise up, Appalachian State, what they did to Michigan. This can be done. How does that happen?
You go out, you play hardest the longest. Whoever played the hardest the longest is going to win the game. There's no secret formula to winning. You go out and do your job, and you play the hardest. And usually who plays the hardest the longest wins the game.
Rocky said you guys were business-like last week, which wasn't really, I mean, you said it was okay for your opponent, but business-like isn't good enough this week.
It's
How
not.
are you guys as leaders going to make sure that it's more than business-like?
You just got to put the emphasis in at practice, you know, preach it all week. But not only preach it, also practice it, do it, you know, lead by example, and it'll be installed into our team.
Would you agree that it was business-like last week?
If Coach Long said it, all right.
Christian, what are you going to do this week?
Yeah, practice. Just put more emphasis on just going hard every play and just a lot of effort. We need the effort to be there in practice, just like it is going to be in a game. Practice like you play.
Coach says he wants to see you guys more on edge. How do you get on edge?
Well, it's kind of within yourself, you know. You put yourself on edge, but I mean, a coach can bring it out of you, but you know, you just gotta want it. You know, on edge is kind of like the want factor. You gotta want it more than anything else. So you kind of just put yourself on edge. If you can't put yourself on edge for a game, then maybe you don't need to be on the field.
Malik, who's kind of taken over Whitaker's role as far as a leadership role? Because
DeMonte.
he was as good a leader as possible.
DeMonte Casey. We got great leaders on our defense. Calvin, DeMonte, Alex Barrett, myself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would say far as from a DB perspective, I would say DeMonte, he played corner, JJ played corner. So I think DeMonte is doing a good job of holding that down.
Were there any times during the game against Cal last year where Goff made some throws that you personally or your teammates, maybe for a half a second, said to yourself, man, that's a pretty good-looking pro-type quarterback there? Because I thought he made some great throws against you guys. You guys had some good coverages, and he was still sticking it in there last year.
Yeah, Goff was a great quarterback. You know, that's part of the reason why he was the number one pick, of course. He was a great quarterback. He changed the play at the line of scrimmage a couple of times. That was noticeable to us. Me and JJ was kind of messing with him a lot during the game, you know, disguising our coverages and messing with his head and stuff. And it was noticeable that he was catching on to it and stuff. But yeah, he was a great quarterback. Wish the best of luck to him in the NFL.
Anything else with student athletes?
Malik, along with like just getting the shit out, I'm sure the defense overall is just happy about that, but just the secondary in general, because New Hampshire, they threw out some great wide receiver stuff or wide receiver stuff. They did some kind of tricky plays like the wheel route,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Were you pleased with how the secondary kept everything in front of them?
Yeah, I think the secondary did pretty good. There's always room for improvement, though. Always, no matter, like you said, it was a shutout game, but there's always room for improvement, always. So we definitely could be better.
Malik, you, DeMonte, a bunch of other guys on defense are all seniors. You're all going to be graduating and leaving soon. Are there a good bunch of guys on defense, good underclassmen that are ready to take your place and lead and stuff like that?
Yeah, I definitely think there's some talent behind us, and then I know the coaches are going to do a great job developing them guys as well after we're gone. So there's definitely some talent behind us.
Christian Rocky used the words outscoring. Do you think this has to be a shootout for the Aztecs to be in it? Do you have to make it 48-46?
I just think every time the offense gets on the field, we just got to have the mindset we got to score. We just keep scoring. We know our defense is going to do their part. We got a great defense, and we just got to have the mindset no matter what happens on that side of the ball, we just got to go score.